Thank you for joining me on AT After Dark. I wanted to continue the previous conversation about Staccato XC ownership, particularly in my sense, daily duty carry, which is something I really haven't seen a whole lot of other videos. If you're like me, you've probably watched all the other Staccato XC videos, and that doesn't really tend to come up. I see guys talking about what their thoughts on daily duty carry would be. Not so much concealed carry, duty carry. So hopefully I can get that going and maybe start that conversation, or at least be a place to speak about that as far as my ongoing experience. Now, let's talk about a few things. Modern service pistols, okay? A lot of them are going to be polymer framed. Like, you open a box, there's going to be another box in it. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, you're going to do different things. Like, that platform is that platform, and the way that you got that platform to perform for you is going to be different than the way that you do it with this, okay? So how about one thing when you're transitioning over, when you start, I will say, now a lot of us, we're used to doing certain things, putting a little bit of trigger prep in. I'm going to say when you start with just the 2011 platform, particularly the XC, but let's just go with 2011s. I would say keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready, because it's not that hard to pull it. You're not going to get killed in the streets. It's not. You're not going to get caught lacking, but especially in the beginning when you're getting used to your shot process and that trigger feel, I would say keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Which sounds like, yeah, okay, AT, I know, but what I'm saying is how it happens is you're either coming down and you're prepping a little bit, and because you're coming from another platform, particularly striker fired platforms, you're used to having to put so much more input. Yes, in the scheme of things, is it a couple pounds here or there, maybe a pound or two more than what this would be? It's the way it does it. It's the way you do it. You're used to putting in more effort. It's just unconscious competency at this point, and you don't know that you're doing it, okay? So what tends to happen when you switch over to this platform is you're used to putting in more input, and as you're coming down, you're going to send one early, which is going to typically go a little bit high, and you're going to reset, and you go, oh shit, wow, it really is like that. All right, let me mind my P's and Q's this time. All right, I'm on there now. Now I'm going to put it down, and then bang, oh wow, you're going to take the turnpike to Shanksville, Ohio. I'm right-handed, so if you're a righty like me, it's typically going to go down to the left, because you're putting a little bit more input into it than you're used to, than you need. It's the input that, I misspoke, it's the input that you're used to putting into it, but it's not the input that you need to put into this. And I'm talking about your trigger press, right? A lot of that comes from, we're used to coming from other platforms. Striker fired, it's more of a hinge. You got to do kind of a roll into it. And like every firearms instructor that you've probably been subjected to, that always said, man, just take it straight back into the rear. This is the platform they were talking about, except they were talking to you about it on another platform, if that gets you right. Like if you're somebody else and they're telling you how to like pull the trigger on a Glock or like a Beretta, it's not necessarily straight back to the rear, is it? These platforms, they are. So when you first get into this, like I said, this is a significant investment. This is like a 2004 Civic, okay? So you're like, damn, AT, I just bought this kind of a Grail kind of Halo gun for myself, and now I'm just going all over the fucking place. What's going on? Calm down, dog. It's cool. Just give yourself some time. Realize that just mainly the trigger press, unless you're coming from 1911s, 2011s already, this trigger press going to be different than what you're used to. Give yourself a few rounds to get into it, okay? The best way I can explain it is it's kind of like the click on a mouse. Whereas if you're coming from a striker fired pistol, that's like you slamming on the space bar. That makes sense. I hope that helps. So once you get that out of the way, then you're gonna start stacking them in the X-ring, okay? Speaking of stacking them in the X-ring, up close, definitely manhandle this sucker as you need. Get used to it, drive this gun, especially the XC with this compensator. Just make it do what it's supposed to do. That's what it wants to do. That's where it's happy. At distance, some people like to shoot B8s as a metric of their skill and get in tune with their shot process. I'm with it. I'm all here for it. At 25 yards, like I said, you're used to, like I said, I'm just going to say it, me coming from a Glock, I'm used to putting certain inputs into that platform to make it do what I need it to do at that distance for that desired goal. I need to do different stuff with this. Why? Simply because it's a different platform and it reacts differently. The best way I can explain it, I don't want to offend anybody. Best way I can explain it. You wish to be amorous with a woman. Luckily for you, she has already decided that she's going to engage in sexual congress with you. You recognize this as well. You know that the only thing that you can do by running your mouth, adding input, is to talk her out of it. So you kind of remove as much of yourself from the equation so you don't change her mind. It's the same thing that you're doing with this. You want to about remove as much of yourself from the equation because you don't want to add those inputs into it so you don't get the desired effect, and you just want to let it do. You just kind of want to relax and let it happen. I hope that helps. Again, I hope I didn't offend anyone. All right, guys, that's where we're going. I'm really not going to get into modifications on this thing because, like I said, I could have bought like some expensive watch, but I got this, and I think I'm going to have a little bit more fun with this. That being said, it's a duty gun, man. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of like Chad modifications on this thing. It's just not going to happen. The most we'll talk about like changing out springs and when to do that, or when I found that I need to do that. But for the most part, I'm really not going to get into that a lot. So if you guys are going to be looking for that here, I'm sorry, dog. Like, this ain't the place. But like I said, I'm going to try and give you at least once a week about the update of just like the daily living with this as a duty weapon. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you.